The following is an exclusive presentation of Raycom Sports and Jefferson Pilot Sports.
The last time Virginia played at home, the number 3 ranked Duke Blue Devils were in town. University Hall was sold out and ready for an upset. The hometown fans were not disappointed when the game was decided in the final seconds.
Roger trying to get away from Duhon with 5, with 4. Roger attacks, Roger in the lane, Roger inside, dunks, layup, goal.
The Cavs went on to beat the Blue Devils by 2 points.
Take him out.
Now, number 2 ranked North Carolina comes into Charlottesville. Cavalier fans have been intense for over a week, waiting for this crucial ACC matchup. Another sold-out crowd awaits as the first-place Tar Heels invade University Hall. Coming up next.
4 seconds, 3 seconds. Solomon at the buzzer, blocked by Battier. Here's in. Oh my goodness. Oh, Haywood with the putback.
More than 8,300 fans have crammed into University Hall for a Sunday special in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Number 2, North Carolina. Number 9, University of Virginia. And hello again, everybody. I'm Tim Brand along with Dan Bonner. Glad to have you along for really what should be a sensational matchup. Dan, let's talk about the importance of this game with the ACC tournament just 11 days away.
Tim, it's very important for Virginia. Of course, they're trying to win at home and secure that 3rd seed in the ACC tournament. And for North Carolina, they're still looking for that regular season championship, and a tough win here on the road could go a long way to helping them to that cause.
You know, when you think about the University of North Carolina, you immediately think of Joseph Forte, 36 points the other night against Florida State.
In an absolutely fabulous performance. And the thing about Joseph Forte is he makes it look so easy. One of the reasons is he's a tremendous mid-range jump shooter. That stop and pop is something that's gone out of vogue, but he does it pretty well. And if you don't get out and guard him from 3-point range, he'll kill you from out there too. He is fantastic in terms of his ability to get shots anytime he wants to.
Now for Virginia, of course, you've got to think about Donald Hand. He struggled a little bit. This is critical today, isn't it?
It is, and I think his decision-making is probably the most important aspect. When does he take the 3 versus drive into the basket? When he drives to the basket, when does he go all the way, pull up, pass? So I think how he decides what he's going to do is going to be a big key to the Virginia game today.
Well, the Cavaliers of Virginia have had great success here at University Hall. I mean, living on the edge and winning at the end. Adam Hall, the buzzer beater to beat Duke by 2. I don't think anybody here will ever forget that. Roger Mason, who buried the 3 to beat Florida State. They're looking for more of that today against the Tar Heels of North Carolina. Coming up next.
ACC Basketball is being brought to you by Bank of America, by Food Line, by your local Chrysler Plymouth dealers, by Bud Light, by Comfort Inn, by Alto, by Dodge, and by Pepsi.
Welcome back inside a sold-out University Hall. Just about set now for the Cavaliers and the Tar Heels. Take a look at the Haviland starting lineups. Jason Capel, Chris Lang, and Brendan Haywood in the middle for the Tar Heels. Joseph Forte coming off those 36 points the other night. And Ronald Curry, he runs the point. For the Cavaliers, Adam Hall, Chris Williams, Travis Watson in the middle. Donald Hand, Dan talked about how important his decision-making will be today, and Roger Mason. So there's your starting lineup for the Tar Heels and the Cavaliers. Just about set now for the opening tip. We'll have that for you right after this. A great scene in Charlottesville. Thomas Jefferson's University has been waiting for this game for a long, long time. Matt Doherty, a member of the 1982 National Championship team in Carolina, 38 years old, 11-1 in his first ACC season, and has the Tar Heels ranked number 2. A look at Pete Gillen in his 3rd year at Virginia and has won 51 games here in Charlottesville. In his 3 years here, has really gotten this program going. Right now, he leads number 9, Virginia. North Carolina leads the series, which dates back to 1910. You see the times they played when they've both been in the top 10. What a rivalry this has been. And Virginia's won 7 of the last 12 games played here in Charlottesville. Matter of fact, the Cavaliers won both from the Heels in the regular season a year ago, but lost earlier this year, 88-81. We're underway. Cavaliers have it first.
North Carolina opens in the man-to-man. Interesting matchup will be Haywood against Watson.
Forte prevented a layup. Hand wisely brings it back out.
May have been a break for Virginia. I thought Hand was going to shoot that one, and Brendan Haywood had him measured pretty well.
Watson over Haywood, partially blocked. Fight for the rebound. Cavaliers get it back.
Shot clock's going to run out, and it just did. Ball never hit the rim until the 35-second shot clock ran out. And Pete Gillen knows that you cannot simply take the ball at Brendan Haywood. You have got to do something, bump him, make him commit and pass the ball off. But you cannot just take the ball straight at Haywood because he's going to block it.
Here's Hand with the takeaway and throws it back to Carolina.
Tim, there's that decision-making we were talking about. He made the good steal, but then too anxious to get something accomplished and threw it away.
You have the feeling for the Cavaliers, you've got to make something happen every trip offensively. Here's a good defensive play by Travis Watson. It goes through the hands of Haywood. This would belong to Virginia.
Now, Virginia doesn't mind a sloppy game as long as both teams are playing sloppily. Cavaliers don't mind that frenetic, helter-skelter kind of pace.
Looking for a first basket here. Williams penetrates, takes it up strong, and is fouled.
And you note early in the game, Tim, as the penetration occurred with Chris Williams, Brendan Haywood didn't really come over as quickly as he sometimes does to cut off the play. He's worried about Travis Watson.
So the foul on Jason Capel, his first, the team's first, and Williams at the line. He's a 77% free throw shooter and buries the first one.
And he has been consistent for the Cavaliers, not only this year, but throughout his career at Virginia.
1,000 career points.
And you can generally count on those 15 points and 6 rebounds just about every game.
And he goes to the line a lot. He's now hit 85 of his 110 free throws. Extremely solid.
And here's Adam Hall, Virginia's best defender, trying to match up against Forte.
Forte to the baseline. His jumper gets the roll.
Now, Virginia didn't do a bad defensive job against Forte. Hall handing him off to Williams. Williams is in pretty good shape, but it doesn't make any difference when Joseph Forte is playing well.
Inside to Watson, who's got position and banks it in.
Watson at over 250 pounds is actually big enough to get position inside.
Virginia by 2.
And here Joseph Forte doing the ball handling thus far.
Forte off balance, not a good shot. Donald Hand comes down with it. Boy, he'll push it.
North Carolina stays in the man-to-man.
Hand beyond the arc. Not even close. Air ball. But a great save by Adam Hall, who knocks it off Jason Capel. This will belong to Virginia.
You know, Donald Hand is only a 27% three-point shooter on the year, and Adam Hall, a very acrobatic play right there to save it.
Williams with the crossover in the shot. Great follow inside by Hall. Can't finish.
Boy, that's one you'd really like to have. Hall flying through there.
Curry on the baseline, and he's fouled.
Virginia would really like to wear Ronald Curry out by pressing him every time he gets the ball. North Carolina sort of diffusing that strategy a little bit by having Forte do a lot of the ball handling.
That's the first against Donald Hand. Inside the Lang, and the turnaround power move. Can't get it to go. Lang won't get a better shot than that. Taken away from Mason.
By
Three turnovers.
By Joseph Forte. And, of course, Mason and Forte, they went head-to-head a lot when they were in high school up in the D.C. area.
There's a whistle, and this is called away from the ball, and I believe
fouls on Chris Williams. Chris Williams.
That'll be his first.
Got some switches, some mismatches in there. Williams was trying to match up against Haywood, and he hung on. Not a bad idea, but he got caught.
Here's Haywood way out top. And hands off to Forte, who drills the three. 5 quick ones for Forte. Carolina by 1.
Boy, nice defense by Forte. He gets so much credit for his offense, but that was a nice move to block off the baseline.
Donald handoff balance and the foul. Called the foul against Curry. His first.
Here goes Donald Hand driving all the way to the basket. When you take it all the way to the basket, Brendan Haywood is going to be right there. Hand that time, I think, very fortunate to draw the foul.
Lang with the rebound. Curry will push it. Here comes Carolina.
North Carolina wants to run, Tim. They'd like to get easy baskets, but they don't want to get in a completely up and down kind of game with Virginia. Haywood can be very effective down on the block.
The jump hook gives him a 3-point lead. Williams at the other end. No foul call. Capel looks ahead.
You have to understand that Brendan Haywood in the game. Forte, geez, he's got 7 points. Pete Gillen called timeout. With Brendan Haywood back there, you just are not going to be able to drive the ball all the way to the basket.
15:04 to play in the first half. Carolina 9, Virginia 4.
David Thompson. Michael Jordan, remember, has 4 fouls on him. He's playing very aggressively. There's a steal. Takes it away from Carlisle. Bam! And the Tar Heels go in front with 50 seconds to play. Got to put it up. 1 second. Capel shot. And good! Tim, you got a foul. You cannot allow the man to have that shot. Do you believe it?
North Carolina leads it by 5, and Joseph Forte starting out 3 of 4. The nice little jump stop, and then hits it from the baseline, and then Forte makes the steal defensively, and then comes off the screen and gets the 3. Joseph Forte showing you just about all the angles. Tim, Virginia's had 2 problems today so far. Their own shooting, they're 1 of 7, and Joseph Forte shooting, he's 3 of 4.
Carolina on a 7-0 run. They forced the turnover here. 15:53 to play. First half.
That's now 3 Virginia turnovers.
Haywood. And the foul.
And North Carolina scoring very easily early in the game. They're now on a 9-0 run. They have a chance to make it 10-0 with Brendan Haywood going to the free throw line. Haywood just gets behind everybody. Travis Watson coming from behind, tries to get his hand on the ball. However, Haywood, too strong, gets it up and draws the foul.
Haywood has not been very good at the line, but he drills that one. He's only a 49% free throw shooter, but he converts a 3-point play, and it's 12-4. Carolina with 15:48 to play in the first half. Carolina out to a quick lead, 8-point lead over Virginia with 15:48 to play in the first half. Don't forget, coming up next, ACC action continues on this Sunday afternoon. Clemson and Georgia Tech. We're only 11 days away from the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament. Georgia Tech making a run for the NCAAs, and Florida State against North Carolina State. Herb Sendek really still trying to find some answers for the Wolfpack. Check your local listings. That's coming up next. One of those 2 games right here on your ACC network.
Tim, North Carolina's run off 10 straight points in only 1 minute and 6 seconds. You've heard of instant offense? That's what it is.
Not a good thing for Virginia at home to fall behind. Crowd's gotten a little bit quiet. Here's a great shot.
That'll get him going.
Oh, is right. Roger Mason falling away, being fouled, and still drains the jumper.
Now, Matt Doherty jumped up off the bench, was upset with that particular play and call. But I'll tell you what, if his defense forces Virginia into shots like this all day long, it's going to be a long afternoon for the Cavaliers. Mason does a nice job to keep his pivot foot right there and not walk with the ball. And that's what Matt Doherty is insisting.
Matt Doherty makes a change, puts Adam Boone in for Ronald Curry, and Mason converts the 3-point play.
Curry's got 2 personal fouls, and this is an interesting situation for Boone. He's really stepped into that role as the backup point guard. It's a tough atmosphere.
Forte splits the double team. No problem there. Here's Boone, just coming back from that ankle sprain. Didn't play against Clemson last Sunday.
Chris Williams matched up against Brendan Haywood.
Oh, Forte
Tim, you
makes
can,
the jumper.
Unless you're 100% sure you're going to get it, you cannot go for the steal against Joseph Forte. He's now got 9 points. The only other Tar Heel who scored is Brendan Haywood. He's got 5.
Well, that'll answer it. There's Mason again, and that's a three-pointer.
Mason, I think has decided he's going to keep his Cavaliers in this game.
He's got 6 points in the last minute, but here's been the hot hand for the Tar Heels. Forte 4 for 5 from the field. Lang, and he's fouled. Great look, an entrance pass by Joseph Forte.
Thus far, North Carolina's done a nice job getting their big guys open down inside. Here, Lang, nice catch in there. Adam Hall gets the foul coming by. But the key is the position that Chris Lang gets, and the pass is perfectly thrown. Excellent execution to notice that there's no defenders behind Chris Lang and lobbing the ball in there perfectly.
Chris Lang throws up an air ball. 53% free throw shooter. They'll let him hear about that. Chris Lang just coming back from injury as well.
Interesting, North Carolina is the league leader in terms of victories, but they're last in the league in free throw shooting. However, they've hit 7 of 9 field goals, and that'll go a long way to helping things.
Well, Forte 4 of 5. Here's Friel, the three-point expert, barely gets to the rim.
And Friel's problem is he was shooting from 2-point range. He's only made 9 2-point field goals all season long.
Capel penetrates and throws up an air ball. Somebody moved the baskets in the last minute.
Well, I don't think the baskets have moved. It's just been people other than Haywood and Forte shooting. Boy, Watson and Haywood, this is going to be a great battle all afternoon long. And Travis Watson does a great job forcing Haywood under the basket.
Carolina by 6. Cavaliers with the ball. Friel beyond the arc. Yes!
There you go. Now he's made 53 three-point field goals.
And he kicks it out of bounds.
Well, that's a pretty good kick. Maybe he should be a field goal kicker because you get 3 for each of those, don't you?
He lights him up here at University Hall.
And that suddenly has the crowd back in the game. Virginia the man-to-man. That's great defense.
Forte picks up his dribble. Now they get it back to Boone. Shot clock is down to 17. Shot clock at 10. Lang.
That is just great execution by North Carolina. No sense of panic at all, even though the shot clock was running down. You give Adam Boone an awful lot of credit for making that play under heavy pressure.
Carolina 18, Virginia 13. Friel beyond the arc. Whistle and a foul. Big guys were banging.
That's on Haywood.
It is on Brendan Haywood. His first.
Chris Lang does a great job moving without the ball. Look again where he has position. He sets himself up in the lane. The pass is thrown perfectly. And not only thrown perfectly, Tim, but timed perfectly. Right when Lang pops open, he gets the ball. That's excellent execution. Boy, they're chasing after Friel.
Mathis will spin. And Boone loses it out of bounds. This ball will belong to the Cavaliers.
Boy, that is an intense look on the face of Matt Doherty. Got to be careful. You get the ball too close to that sideline over there, he'll steal it from you.
Now, Mathis missed that jump shot, but I'll tell you, that's the shot you want the freshman to take. He gets that thing going. Look out. He's been ACC Rookie of the Week already a couple times. Inside to Watson. Cavaliers won't wait. They bring it back in a hurry, and Julius Peppers has his shot blocked. Cavaliers have numbers. Friel beyond the arc. Yes!
Virginia really trying to turn up the heat defensively.
Forte left alone. He answers for three.
He is just amazing. He scored 36 points on Thursday night. He's on pace for about 60 today. 5 for 6, Forte from the field. 2 for 2 from three-point range, and that's a travel.
Way too many. He knew it. He got caught. It was too late. 11:52 to play first half. Wow. This is fun.
The Virginia Cavaliers have a little bit of an inside game going. Brendan Haywood struggling. Is fouled as North Carolina has been able to get it done. This is a perfect pass inside to Chris Lang. Talk a lot about three-point shooters, but again, here's Lang on the inside. Excellent execution by North Carolina.
11:52 to play in the first half. 21-18, North Carolina. Up tempo both ways. Crowd wanted a call. There was none.
If that was a soccer game, he'd have gotten a yellow card for a flop.
Morrison gets it back up to Haywood. Now Haywood will go down to the low post as Torrey will get the offense going. Calls it out.
Remember, Curry has 2 fouls.
Inside to Haywood. And Haywood made that look easy. Taking the baseline and the power move.
Actually, if he'd have caught the ball the first time, if he'd have made the catch cleanly, he'd have had an easier play. Oh boy, he sure bulled his way to the basket.
Tar Heels by 5. Mathis with a little jump hook.
And that's a really tough move. Right in the face of Brendan Haywood. Got the big guy moving. Haywood not able to go up quite so quickly with the block shot.
Owens, this is beyond the arc. Wow.
They call that a 2.
25-20, Tar Heels. North Carolina on fire, hitting 11 of 15 field goals. Virginia answers. Roger Mason. It's a 2-point game.
He's now had 3 three-point plays, one the old-fashioned way, and 2 three-point baskets. Peppers battling inside against Don. Each team has gone to its bench.
Morrison falling away. Mason with a rebound. Cavaliers don't have numbers. Friel is fouled by Morrison out front.
You better believe North Carolina knows that they have to find Friel in transition. And Morrison, even though he picked up the foul, he made a good play to go out and get Friel, to force Friel to put the ball on the deck.
That's a good point, Dan, because as soon as they got the ball, they jumped Friel.
Oh, my. You say if that one goes, it's going to be Mason's afternoon. Follow-away shot barely missed.
Not the shot Pete Gillen wanted. Aggressive defense by the Cavaliers. Morrison frees up beyond the arc. Last touch by the Heels. Cavaliers get it back, trailing by 2.
And a break for Virginia right there. Nobody blocked out Julius Peppers, and he had a real good run at the basket. The ball just bounced a little to the left. If it comes to the right off the rim, Peppers gets a dunk. Peppers, 280 pounds. He ought to be a hard guy to lose out there.
Pete Gillen's not happy. He called an offense, and now he's calling a timeout. He wants to talk to his team and explain what he meant. 9:35 to play in the first half. 2-point game, Dan.
And I think Pete Gillen understands that in the flow and tempo of this game, it's important that the Cavaliers make good decisions. We talked about that before the game, so he wants to make sure that his Cavaliers don't contribute to a North Carolina run by not knowing exactly what he wants them to do.
Let's take a look at the Atlantic Coast Conference standings. We talked about how close it is to tournament time. And of course, Duke and Carolina have been at the top the whole year. Carolina losing to Clemson last Sunday, their only loss. And Duke really had a tough time yesterday with Wake Forest playing extremely well. Maryland beat Oklahoma yesterday.
I think the key thing there is you look at the top 6 teams all the way down through Wake Forest. Everybody fighting for an NCAA tournament bid. Wake Forest would like to get to at least 8-8 with 18 wins overall. Georgia Tech sitting there with only 15 wins. If they could get their last 2 regular season games and get to 17, then they'd have to feel real good about their possibilities.
Look at the field goals for the Tar Heels. Wow. And then both teams shooting lights out from beyond the arc. Here's Friel.
That is a long shot, boy. A little two-handed set shot there.
They leave Lang alone at the top. They'll let him take that shot. Mathis with the rebound.
Got to be careful. If you take shots like that and have those long rebounds, that really gives Virginia the opportunity to get out quickly. North Carolina wants Virginia to play against that set defense as often as possible.
Don kicks it back to Hand. He's left alone. That's for 3. Virginia by 1. Capel, this is for 3.
Boy, what a great play by Joseph Forte. Bodies falling all over the place, and Forte keeps his wits about him and makes the great pass.
Carolina by 2. Friel. Do you believe this? Virginia by 1. Offensive Curry.
Play he couldn't make. He's got 2 fouls. Now he's got 3. But that's what Virginia will do to you, Tim. They get you running up and down, playing at a tempo that's a little faster than you want to play.
Immediately, Adam Boone will come in for him.
And boy, there's just no question at all about that. Friel, not noted for his defensive prowess. This is what he's known for, the three-point basket. That time, the fake, the dribble, and the 3.
Boy, Friel had a look at it. They've got Forte on him now. Almost.
Well, you like him with that wide open 3. He's one of the better percentage three-point shooters on the Virginia team. Now Peppers has the advantage against Williams on the inside down on this end.
Forte uses the pick to get off the jumper.
My goodness.
Forte's been incredible in this half.
That doesn't begin to describe it.
Plus, he's coming off that 36-point performance the other night. He's 6 for 7. And there's another shot. That's for 3 by Adam Hall.
And that's a guy who's an 18% three-point shooter in league game.
Knocked away. Cavaliers have it. Ahead to Hand. Hall! Forte answers.
Why not? He's done everything else. This time he takes the ball to the basket.
Deafening in here.
7 for 8 is Joseph Forte.
Donald Hand with the crossover. He gets the roll.
Wait, Matt Doherty telling his guys, get the ball up the court. Doesn't want to let Virginia set the pressure.
How can it get any better than this for the fans? Forte's shot is short. Ahead to Hand. Cavaliers with their largest lead. 5 points. Lang shot blocked, but he goes back up strong, and Peppers converts.
The pace of this game is absolutely incredible.
Friel has it blocked.
So add a blocked shot to Forte's already gaudy statistics for this game.
Here's Lang again. Friel knocks it away.
Oh, how did they get that pass through? My goodness.
Adam Hall will go to the line, shooting 2. Peppers hit you, you know it.
Wow, he sees a guy running down the court with a ball in his hands. He thinks one thing, that's go get him.
15 sacks for the year, 1 personal for the game.
And the way he hit Adam Hall there, that could be a thrown for loss.
This broadcast is copyrighted presentation. Any use of it without the express permission of Raycom, Jefferson Pilot Sports, and the ACC is prohibited. Hall makes the first.
And Hall, in non-conference action, Tim, this is a funny statistic. He only shoots 60% from the free throw line, as you see Haywood coming back in the game. But in conference games, Adam Hall is a 73% free throw shooter.
Adam Hall, 6'5", 195-pound junior from Texas. Misses the second. Under 6 minutes to play in the first half. 39-35 Virginia. Call 3 seconds.
3-second violation.
Pete Gillen now talking to the crowd, telling them to get up, be loud, let the Cavaliers hear them. 5:40 to play first half.
The Virginia Cavaliers lead by 4, and one of the reasons is they've been raining threes. Keith Friel, Roger Mason, Keith Friel again. And now Adam Hall, why not?
Interesting lineup in now for the Tar Heels. You've got Capel, Owens, and Haywood at the front line, and your guards are Brian Morrison and Adam Boone. Here's Hand. Tough shot, tried to take it right at Haywood. He gets his 3rd block of the game.
You're not going to take it all the way against Haywood, and Donald Hand has to understand that.
Cavaliers with a turnover. Ahead they go to Hand.
You're going to attack Haywood. This is the way you have to do it. Getting the ball down inside to Travis Watson, but that time Watson battling isn't able to catch the ball.
Not a good pass. Went to the baseline with it, and Watson couldn't get over. As you said, he was in a battle of his own.
And now Virginia, 1 turnover and a blocked shot in their last 2 possessions.
Good look down into Haywood, who puts it away. We now bring in a calculator for Marty Aronoff so he can keep up with this. This is an incredible pace here today.
Virginia going for the steal, and they're going to give up some of those baskets. They do the pressure and don't get the steal. And there, that's how you attack Haywood, right there.
Haywood called with the personal.
That's 2 fouls on Haywood, and that is a great job by Travis Watson to get excellent position inside. And again, the key to that play was the timing of the pass to Watson. You've got to get Watson the ball when he's open. And right here, he turns, he's got Haywood on his back. Williams sees it and throws him the ball at precisely the right time, and Haywood tries to go for the steal and picks up foul number 2.
Joseph Forte checks back into the ball game as Watson goes to the line. 63% free throw shooter. The 8-day break came at a good time for Watson. He was nursing an assortment of injuries. He's had it all this year. The knee, the ankle, the hip, the hand. Forte standing right behind Watson.
Forte, 17 points already in the game.
7 for 9 from the field. 3 for 4 beyond the arc. Here he is, and he's fouled. You don't want to put him on the line either.
I think if you're the Virginia Cavaliers, you'd prefer to put him on the bench, much as they put Curry and Haywood over there with foul problems, because Pete Gillen's troops have not been able to find an answer for Joseph Forte, regardless of what they've tried to do.
Here's Morrison. He's your point guard. Hall again went for the steal, and Forte loses it. They double Owens, and they foul him. This will be called on Mason.
You have to be patient defensively. You don't want to get so caught up in the emotion of the game that you start reaching and grabbing, and the Cavaliers, I think, succumb to that on that particular occasion.
Well, they are playing very aggressively, and when you do that, you are going to have a few of those.
And you need to play aggressively. There's no way that Virginia can battle with North Carolina and play passively.
Peppers comes back in. Owens goes out.
So Pete Gillen saying that Joseph Forte pushed off.
Shot clock is down to 20. Plenty of time. Morrison goes to get inside to Peppers, and it was last touched by Virginia. So now 16 on the shot clock.
And now Brian Morrison has not played a great deal of point guard since Ronald Curry reported to the team and took over those point guard duties. But with Curry in foul trouble, they need some minutes from him.
Air ball by Forte, got caught in the air in a double team. Cavaliers push it hard.
And you might say, well, gee, that's a bad shot. But no, they'll work very hard in the half-court offense to get Mason that shot. So why not take it in transition?
Peppers goes inside, and Williams takes it away from him. Ahead they go to Hall, who's over top of Morrison for the basket, and he's fouled.
Tim, that's a situation where if you're Brian Morrison, you just have to get out of the way. Chris Williams 0 for 3 from the field, but gets the steal there, and Morrison just has to get out of the way. Once Hall catches that ball, there's no way Morrison's going to do anything about it.
Virginia 43, North Carolina 37 with 3:38 to play. High-scoring game, but not unusual for Virginia. 15 times this year, the Cavaliers have scored 50 points and a half. See the numbers on Adam Hall. As Dan mentioned, he's a 61% free throw shooter. He makes that, converts the three-point play. Virginia with its largest lead, 44-37, will return after these messages from the ACC. Cavaliers of Virginia ranked 9th in the country right now with their largest lead of this game over the Tar Heels of North Carolina. 3:38 to play in the first half in a high-scoring affair at University Hall in Charlottesville. A look at Joe Forte, who has just been spectacular here in the first half with 17 points.
Tim, it's been interesting, however. It has been a few moments since Joseph Forte has scored. He was getting all the points early in the game, but the Virginia Cavaliers have done a nice job cutting him off recently.
Here's our Jeep game summary in the first half. Looks like this. And of course, as Dan mentioned, Forte 7 of 9 from the field, 3 for 4 beyond the arc.
And we mentioned Forte has not scored in 3.5 minutes. We mentioned Chris Williams hasn't scored for Virginia, but Keith Friel off the bench with 9 points, Adam Hall with 9 points. So the Cavaliers getting a lot of contributions from a lot of folks.
I said 7 for 9. Obviously, Forte 7 for 10. 3 for 4 beyond the arc.
Virginia has done a nice job too with its pressure. Created some North Carolina turnovers, and of course that's what they're looking to do.
Forte with a miss. That'll give the Cavaliers a chance to get it out on the break, and here's Watson running the floor. And look at that by Hall. Skywalking. Adam Hall. Morrison throws it away, and again, Cavaliers will run. Williams gets it back and taps it in.
Virginia doing a great job on the offensive boards. Adam Hall by himself has 4 offensive rebounds, and that time Chris Williams, he's 1 for 6 now, but he got himself a couple of offensive boards, and more importantly, 2 points.
Virginia by 11. Capel.
And North Carolina's totally out of their tempo right now.
Williams beyond the arc. Yes! Timeout, North Carolina.
Virginia 8 out of 14 from three-point range. Now, we've only played 17.5 minutes in the game. They've already got 51 points. But what you're seeing right now is North Carolina playing the frantic style that Virginia wants to play. Travis Watson, the center, out running on the break. Pretty good transition defense. Nobody blocks out Hall. You got to find him. And then Chris Williams again in transition. This after a North Carolina turnover. Capel not quickly enough out on him, and bang. We set 8 three-point field goals by Virginia. The key is they've created some North Carolina turnovers. They've got themselves easy baskets. Remember, Curry on the bench with 3 personal fouls. Haywood is coming back in the game now, even though he's got 2 fouls, because Matt Doherty feels this game slipping out of control.
Now you look at those 14 three-point attempts by the Cavaliers. Not unusual. Since 1989, Virginia's attempted 21 three-point field goals a game against North Carolina.
And North Carolina's got to get some semblance of an inside attack going once again.
Every time Forte touches it, they jump out on him.
Capel's been very quiet. He's a guy who's been scoring about 16 points a game for North Carolina over the last few.
Shot clock at 7. Haywood. Peppers with a follow.
Try to double team Haywood. Somebody's got to go find Peppers. The closest guy was Roger Mason, and Mason's not crazy. He wasn't going to have anything to do with Peppers.
Virginia has just exploded. Peppers on Williams.
That's a tough matchup for Peppers.
And the foul on Peppers.
And that's a good decision by Chris Williams. Now, Julius Peppers, he doesn't have the foot speed necessarily to keep up with Chris Williams. But here, Adam Hall goes after the pass. Look at Hall. He just takes a hike out to half court. And the guy's guarding Peppers. Nobody's there to block him out. So Peppers goes in and gets the dunk. Boy, if you're Adam Hall and you miss the steal, you've got to get back into play.
Chris Williams makes his first. UVA's most consistent player, 77% at the line. As Adam Hall goes out of the game, Friel checks back in. 9 points now for Williams.
Good heavens.
53-39 Virginia.
And we still have a minute and a half left in the half.
Haywood is fouled. But again, this is the 16th time Virginia has gone over 50 points and a half. Hey fans, score more miles with a Dividend Miles Visa card issued by Bank of America. It's your ticket to fly on U.S. Airways to ACC campuses and other destinations around the world. Apply today. Visit bankofamerica.com/US Airways.
And they've scored 53 points, have the Cavaliers, against the team that's #2 in the country in field goal percentage defense.
This is a club that averages 86 points a game. Second in the ACC offensively. The problem is Virginia ranks 6th in the ACC in scoring defense. There's Haywood.
Again, he's right about a 50% free throw shooter. Travis Watson now goes out of the game.
That cuts Carolina's lead, or Virginia's lead rather, to 13.
Tim, an interesting stat. North Carolina in this first half only has attempted 4 free throws.
That's a walk by Mathis.
When I see Mathis is standing out there watching the game, Donald Hand that time makes a good decision, draws Haywood, kicks the ball back to Mathis. Mathis wasn't ready for that, Tim. He caught that one with his nose, and then when he finally recovered, he was too anxious and made the mistake to travel with the basketball.
Carolina can't afford to panic. Down 13 with 107. Just get to the house. Talk this thing over, regroup. A lot of basketball to be played this afternoon. Forte. That shot is short. Forte again, and he banks it in.
Particularly when you build a lead, you don't want to give the team an opportunity, your opponent an opportunity to come back with second and third opportunities.
That was a long dry spell for Forte. He now has 19 points.
And now North Carolina in the zone. 9-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock.
Shot clock is at 18.
North Carolina in the matchup zone, and what you want to do in this zone is get Virginia to stand around, and that's exactly what the Tar Heels have accomplished.
Shot clock at 7. Here's Hand, takes it in. Chance to bring it back to single digits. Forte can't get it to go down. Gets it back. He's on the line. 5.3 seconds remaining in the half.
Boy, a couple of lost opportunities right there for North Carolina. Forte with a pretty good shot, and then Haywood nearly had the tip. Now, Forte, we mentioned, he started 7 of 8, but he has hit only 1 of his last 6, and that has been a big key.
It's good if it goes. Yes! To end the first half, Donald Hand.
You got to be kidding.
56 first half points for Virginia, and University Hall is ready to explode. 3-pointers for the Wahoos.
Now, there's no way Adam Boone figures he's going to take that shot. He's a good 10 feet beyond the top of the key. Wow.
Nothing but cord.
It's called a walk-off 3.
What a first half in Charlottesville, Virginia. Fans camped out for a week to see this. It was worth it. There is still a pronounced buzz here at University Hall in Charlottesville. That score is correct. 56-42, Virginia. This is the 16th time this year that the Cavaliers have scored at least 50 points in a half. Incredible first half of basketball game.
Well, the most incredible thing is Virginia only scored 4 points in the first 4.5 minutes of the half. And in the last 15.5 minutes, that means they got 52. And one of the ways that they did it was with the 3-point basket. Virginia on the attack. Keith Friel, this is in a half-court set, coming off and hitting the 3. And then Travis Watson out and running. Adam Hall finishes it off. Virginia's really gotten the tempo the way they want it. Early in the game, Joseph Forte very effective, hitting 7 of his first 8, but cooled off as we moved through the first half.
You mentioned the 3-pointers, and as we go to our Dodge halftime stats, Cavaliers with 9 3-pointers in the first half.
And the other 9 there, I think that's significant, is 9 from the free throw line. And North Carolina, you shoot 53% on the road. You figure you're in good shape. Not so.
We'll be back with the start of the second half.
ACC Basketball is brought to you by Buick, by Advance Auto Parts, by Geico Direct, and by Aquafina.
This being such a fast-paced game in Charlottesville, even our statistician, Marty Aronoff, worked up a sweat. Take a look at the Buick keys to the second half.
The North Carolina Tar Heels, Tim, I think they've got to give themselves a shot at getting some defensive results, and to do that, they have to get a handle on the tempo of this game. First 4.5 minutes, it was okay. Last 15.5, it was not. For Virginia, they have played very effectively. They must continue to attack, but they have to do it efficiently. They don't want to force things and allow North Carolina the opportunity to make a run and get back in the game.
Matt Doherty being the master motivator. We'll see what he did here at halftime. Here's Forte.
Again, Forte, 7 of his first 8, only 1 of his last 6, and going right inside is a pretty good idea to start things.
Haywood goes up and is fouled. The bucket will count. He'll go to the line to try for the 3-point play.
Tim, and early in the game, we showed you the North Carolina Tar Heels punching the ball inside very effectively. And that time, even though Chris Lang missed the shot, Brendan Haywood, hanging out for the rebound, is able to get it. North Carolina has an advantage in there, and they used it that time because Travis Watson now picks up his 3rd personal foul.
Haywood misses the free throw, doesn't get the 3-point play. So here come the Cavaliers, leading by 12.
And North Carolina begins the second half in the 2-3 zone. They're going to try to match up a little bit. And Virginia was just in such an offensive rhythm at the end of the first half. Matt Doherty trying something just to get the Cavaliers to slow down a little bit.
Good move. Shot clock is already down to 10.
And Brendan Haywood picks up his 3rd personal.
I was just going to say, you have some touch fouls and you've got some really good fouls. I mean, he got his money's worth.
You know he got his money's worth. You don't want to pick up a foul if you're Brendan Haywood at 7 feet tall, that far from the basket.
Especially with 8 on the shot clock. So they reset the clock now, and here's Hand. Good position against the zone, move his men around for the Cavaliers offensively.
And if Virginia struggles against this set, you'll see Keith Friel come off the bench very quickly.
Watson over top of Haywood. Forte with the rebound.
Guy that North Carolina would love to get involved in the offense is Jason Capel. He only had 3 points in the first half.
He wasn't even looking for shots.
Well, he also had 3 turnovers, and so you never want to have as many points as turnovers.
Curry penetrates, gets a good look, and can't convert. Ahead they go to Hall. Great look by Hand.
Great job by Hall to get out running.
13 for Hall.
And sometimes that works for Virginia, sometimes not. Hall runs out, and so that means they're rebounding 4 on 5. But Travis Watson in great position, the quick outlet pass, and Donald Hand with a perfect lead to Adam Hall.
After Carolina took an 8-point lead, Virginia exploded. Forte from beyond the arc. Watson with another rebound, and the Cavaliers are running again.
Oh my! I thought he was going to catch that.
Adam Hall almost hit his head on the shot clock.
Now Pete Gillen is going to hit Donald Hand head on the shot clock if he makes too many plays like that.
Forte walks.
You want to be aggressive, but at the same time, you want to make sure that executing good plays. That's the 10th North Carolina turnover, and that last attempt by Virginia was not really a good attempt. Turnovers have hurt North Carolina.
Cut off the baseline to Mason and brings it back up to Hall. Here's Watson at the foul line, gets the roll.
And Hayward has to be a little more careful with those 3 fouls, and so Watson gets an open one.
Cavaliers with their largest lead of this ball game.
And Virginia with those quick hands, they knock the ball away again. North Carolina keeps it, but the pace is really what the Cavaliers would like to see.
Virginia has beaten 3 top 10 teams this year. They've got Carolina on the ropes. Forte got in the air and somehow got it to Haywood. 14 now for Haywood. And the foul immediately. This will be on Capel.
Joseph Forte does a great job getting to the baseline. Matt Doherty wants a foul. You can see the double team comes over, and Forte just bounces that ball on the ground. Very fortunate that Brendan Haywood is there. Adam Hall playing behind Haywood, who does a nice job picking it up and dunking it home.
Donald Hand makes the first. Boy, he was in a February slump. Really, it was tough on Donald. He had gone 3 for 23 in one stretch with 17 turnovers in 3 games, but he's playing well today. Makes them both. Forte is fouled by Hall.
And that's one of those situations where you've got to get help a little bit sooner on Joseph Forte. Once he gets in gear, it's going to be real hard to get around in front of him. He's very quick. Adam Hall having something to say, and Donald Hand trying to get him out of there. I think Hall felt like it was not a shooting foul.
Joseph Forte not impressed by any of it. He's an 84% free throw shooter, and everyone now becomes critical. Because even though there's 16.5 minutes, 16:48 left in the ball game, Hall knows, or Forte knows, they keep falling behind. They're losing time to catch up in a hurry.
Boy, and Virginia doesn't put as many guys on the lane as they're permitted to put there. It doesn't make any difference, but boy, you sure don't want to lose one because you've only put 3 guys on the lane instead of 4.
21 points for Forte. 16:40 to play in the ball game. 62-48 Virginia. And the foul on Forte.
And that was a bit of a bailout there for Virginia because Forte, I think, accomplished what he wanted to accomplish, and that is Adam Hall was going down into the lane with that wild look in his eyes, and Forte, I think, bailed him out by committing the foul. North Carolina stays in the zone.
Shot clock at 15.
Now remember, they ran it down to 8, and then North Carolina committed a foul. And here comes Keith Friel up off the bench.
Shot clock at 6. Donald Hand from way outside, and Haywood comes up with it.
Now, he made one like that to end the first half, but that's not the kind of shot you want to get on a regular basis in your offense.
Forte has it blocked. Cavaliers have numbers. Hands. Followed by Watson.
And see, if Virginia can get out and run, Tim, they don't have to play against the zone. They beat it down the court. Every time you turn it over or take a bad shot, that gives Virginia a chance to get down and get an easy one. That time the blocked shot creating the transition opportunity.
Capel's been quiet. Hits these two.
And we said that he had to step up a little bit. This North Carolina offense, particularly here in the second half, has looked like everybody's standing around waiting for Joseph Forte to do something.
Capel averages double figures. He now has 5 points.
Well, over his last 5 games, he's averaging almost 16 points a game, almost 10 rebounds a game. He has got to assert himself offensively.
Williams, pump fake. Watson. Watson again.
Boy, Watson held off Forte with one hand, caught the ball with the other one, and scored the basket.
12 points, 5 rebounds for Watson. Oh, nice move by Haywood. Great drop step and spin to the bucket.
The key there is he catches the ball so close to the basket, and Watson has those 3 fouls, so he's got to be careful about pushing him out.
Still plenty of time left in the ball game, 14.5. Carolina knows that. No panic yet, but the Cavaliers really in control. Wild shot. Another big rebound by Watson. Shot clock's down to 11. And
That's
Hand with the push. Well, Watson's been coming up big for the Cavaliers, and at the other end, Haywood helps the Tar Heels. A reminder, coming up next on most of these Raycom and Jefferson Pilot sports stations, you'll see either Florida State at NC State or Clemson at Georgia Tech. Tony Stockman, what a game he had for Clemson last Sunday when they beat the Tar Heels of North Carolina. And Tony Akins of the Yellow Jackets, certainly. Delvon Arrington will lead the Seminoles into Raleigh to play Anthony Grundy in the Wolfpack. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Coming up next on most of these Raycom and Jefferson Pilot sports networks. Look at Joseph Forte, who started out red hot, but now has gone cold all of a sudden. Owen shot, draws iron. Hand out in front.
Boy, and they really find Frio in transition. That's a great job by North Carolina to get back and now get the zone defense set.
Under 10 seconds now on the play clock. Since Carolina went to the zone, Cavaliers have been using a lot of the clock. Down to 3. Down to 1. Hand.
Oh, he banked it in.
It's one of those days.
You can't be serious.
That was a desperation shot. He saw 1 on the shot clock and just fired it. One of those days, folks. Larry Rose takes an offensive charge from Forte. Larry Rose, the official.
He's going to call a foul on Roger Mason. Now, Virginia not doing a good job getting the ball inside the zone defense. And Donald Hand, you're right, that's a desperation heave. He banks it home. And I'll tell you what, there's no defense against a shot like that. You can forget it.
You have to start believing this is the day for the Cavaliers.
Talked about Donald Hand and his decision-making. Well, he's got 15 points and 5 assists so far today.
Larry Rose still wincing a little bit since Forte ran into him. The officials today, Larry Rose, Carl Hess, and Ted Valentine. Forte just cannot get that ball to stay in.
That was an outstanding move to get himself open.
Kick it out to Mason. Skip pass down to Williams.
Boy, what great body control by Mason to slide by Forte and avoid the offensive foul.
What a great performance by the Virginia Cavaliers.
Keep in mind, there's plenty of time left in this basketball game.
But right now, the Cavaliers in complete control, and Forte is struggling. Here's Peppers. Wanted a foul call. There was none. Forte 1 for his last 10. Williams for 3.
And that's not the kind of shot that Virginia needs in that situation. They've got a big lead, 19-point lead. Move the ball around, run some time off the clock against that zone. Don't take the first shot that offers itself. You can get that shot with 2 seconds left on the shot clock. Virginia's proven that.
Here's Brendan Haywood. Little jump hook. Not even close.
That's not really Haywood's best offensive move. That was about a foot or two further than he wants to try to shoot it.
Julius Peppers is really struggling now. He is tired. Friel for 3. Point Virginia lead with 11:20 left.
Boy, Peppers thought about it.
Haywood banks it in.
It's not a good defensive job by Virginia. When Haywood catches the ball that far from the basket, you've got to get out there and not let him put the ball on the deck and go by you.
Brendan's having a nice game. He's got 18 points. Mathis. Skip pass, the miss. Forte with the rebound. Here come the Tar Heels. Peppers.
Boy, he turned right into Donald Hand.
Last touch by Peppers. Matt Doherty gives the officials a sarcastic smile. The crowd is on its feet. 10:44 to play.
Travis Watson has been really the big man in the middle for Virginia today, and he's done a great job getting himself in position here. The tip in the transition play now, the turn and face jump shot with Brendan Haywood laying off. And then we talked about playing in transition. Watson just running the court and gets himself an easy one.
It's been fun to watch the big guys, and while Watson has 12 points, Haywood has 18. That's been quite a battle.
Virginia, it's been the balance for the Virginia Cavaliers. They have 6 players who have scored between 9 and 15 points, and that's one of the big reasons why they're out to this 17-point lead.
Donald Hand getting a breather now. Here's Mason from beyond the arc.
And Mason started out the game with a couple of threes.
It's like it's automatic. 20-point lead for the Cavaliers.
That's his 3rd three-point basket. He's got 12 points in the game.
Haywood again with a little jump hook. He has 20 points.
Again, keep in mind that Travis Watson has 3 personal fouls, and he's playing very tentatively on the defensive end. Haywood now 9 for 11.
Well, here we go, folks. Under 10 minutes now to play, as time will become a factor for North Carolina. Watson from way outside. How about this?
Watson's a guy who can hit that 15 to 18-foot jump shot, and that was a nice play. They moved the zone around a little bit, ran some time off, and then he got the good shot.
Peppers, offensive.
And Matt Doherty not happy with the way things are going, and Julius Peppers really hasn't had the kind of game that you've been accustomed to him having. And Friel just does a good job moving his feet. Whenever you have that contact, the offensive player's shoulder against the defender's torso, that's almost always called a charge.
Watson with the touch pass. Back to Watson, left hand, partially blocked, gets it back. Last touch by Watson. Brendan Haywood really causing some problems down there. He's got 4 blocks.
And Haywood doing a really nice job getting good position, not hitting Watson with the body.
Foul on Mason.
And the Virginia coaching staff up telling Roger Mason, okay, all right. You just don't need to go for that particular steal. Now, we've been talking about Joseph Forte coming off that big game against Florida State. You can see started out the game red hot. Since that time, of course, only 4 points, and that is a big reason for the offensive doldrums in which the Tar Heels find themselves.
Capel. Forte gets it back. And Haywood is fouled with a follow.
And that foul will be against Adam Hall. Now, Joseph Forte, we showed you those numbers a moment ago. Virginia's done a nice job putting defensive pressure against him, Tim, but Forte has still gotten some open shots that he hasn't been able to put down.
So Adam Hall now has 4 personals as Haywood goes to the line. Haywood with 20 points today. This is not his strong point, though, at the line.
And one of the other things that's been interesting for Virginia as Adam Hall leaves the game with 4 personal fouls is Pete Gillen has run guys off the bench that have all contributed, whether they've contributed with points or not, but he really hasn't seen any drop-off when guys have gone to the bench.
Haywood misses again. He's 2 for 6.
I would point out the Tar Heels last in the ACC shooting free throws.
8.5 minutes now to play.
And North Carolina goes back to the man-to-man.
Mathis will take that. Got to be a sense of urgency now for the Tar Heels.
They still have plenty of time. They can take good shots.
Plenty of time, but the deal is they aren't cutting into that 20-point lead at all.
Tim, and you are absolutely right. The lead was 14 at halftime, and so Virginia in the first 12 minutes has stretched the lead out despite the fact that Matt Doherty went to the zone defense, which has normally been very effective against Virginia. The Cavaliers combined very good outside shooting along with the ability to get some transition baskets, and they've run the Tar Heels out of that zone.
Cavaliers went undefeated this year in non-conference games. Already this year, they've beaten 3 top 10 teams, Tennessee, Maryland, and Duke. And they've got the Tar Heels down by 20. Curry to Forte, beyond the arc. That'll help. That's 3 more for Joseph.
That's only 17 points in this half for North Carolina. Now, Donald Hand is having words with Brendan Haywood. And that shows a great deal of courage, but I don't know how much judgment.
Matt Doherty comes onto the floor.
Now, the coach is allowed to come on the floor to prevent a fight.
That stirs up the crowd at University Hall.
Watson elbows Haywood. Now, Haywood has lost his contact lens. And I don't know what, and I think he thinks Donald Hand stepped on the contact lens, so he gets after Hand for that.
Donald Hand laughs at him. Matt Doherty takes Haywood out to cool down.
Well, Brendan Haywood thought that Donald Hand had stepped on his contact lens, but one of the ushers pointed it out to referee Carl Hess, who recovered it. And now it's back in Brendan Haywood's eye. But that's what that contretemps was all about down there. Brendan Haywood had lost the lens, and he starts looking for it, and he thought Donald Hand walked in and stepped on it.
So he takes a seat next to Matt Doherty, and the Tar Heels now going without Brendan Haywood.
That's a 17-point game.
Forte with a steal. Forte with the last 5 points.
And that's what North Carolina needs to get. They need to start chopping into that lead, and they've cut it now to 15. And for Virginia, it becomes all the more important to attack very efficiently here.
Tar Heels really extend the defense now and get much more active.
Right, and when you get this active and you get steals and positive results, it's a frenzy that feeds on itself. But if the other guys make some basket, it really lets the wind out of your sail.
They sag on Mathis, he gets it to Mason. He fires from beyond the arc. Not even close.
And that's what the North Carolina defense is designed to do. Push Virginia out with some pressure.
Can feel a little momentum swing here.
Certainly Matt Doherty hopes you feel that momentum swing.
Capel, Peppers, and he walks. Matt Doherty really working the officials.
That's 13 turnovers for the Tar Heels, and that's a particularly ill-timed turnover. You mentioned it just as it appears North Carolina might be gaining some momentum.
13 turnovers for the Tar Heels now.
And actually playing against Virginia, that's not a lot of turnovers, but Virginia's been very productive with the results of the turnovers.
Boy, Hand had a good look. Couldn't convert. Here comes Forte. He's got Carolina's last 5 points.
Well, now Virginia's got a 4-on-2.
Frio beyond the arc. And last touch by Watson.
Now last touch
they say by Curry.
And Pete Gillen wants a timeout. And he's going to take his 60-second timeout.
5:56 still to play. We'll return after this message from the Atlantic Coast Conference. Under 6 minutes to play. Virginia 76, Carolina 61. Joe Forte is trying to bring them back.
North Carolina's got to look for some defensive stops and then conversions, and this is the kind of stop that you like the best. That is the steal. And down the court to score. Now Virginia is scoreless in the last 3 minutes and 52 seconds, but North Carolina during that time has only been able to score 5 points. As you mentioned, all of them scored by Joseph Forte. So North Carolina's defense stepping up. You can see those are the numbers we're talking about, but the offense has not been able to take advantage of them. And Virginia, on the other hand, what balance they've had in scoring. Frio in the lineup now. He's got 9 points, but Williams has 11, Mason has 12, Hall has 13, Watson has 14, Hand has 15. Again, North Carolina trying to extend the pressure, and the longer the Cavaliers go without scoring a basket, the tighter that pressure becomes.
Skip pass down to Watson, and it'll be Carolina ball. Another turnover and another scoreless trip for the Cavaliers.
Well, that was a very, very difficult entry pass.
Ahead to Forte.
Now they've gotten it done on the defensive end now. North Carolina's got to get it done on the offensive end.
Well, when they brought it up, Matt Doherty told Forte not to rush it, get in the offense. And again, Capel almost has it taken away, or Peppers rather, and Capel hits the three.
And just like that, we're down from 20 to 12.
76-64. Here's a foul on Forte. And Pete Gillen says thank you.
Well, I don't know that Pete Gillen was overly satisfied with that decision by Donald Hand to try to dribble in between those guys. He got away with it. Jason Capel just standing where he needs to be. Catches that tip out by Mason and nails it. Now remember, North Carolina scored 10 points in 1 minute and 6 seconds at one point in the first half, so they can cut into this lead quickly.
Mason draws iron. This foul's going to be on Peppers.
And Virginia continues to struggle on the offensive end, although Chris Williams, an excellent free throw shooter, now is going to be able to go to the line as he's fouled on the tip attempt.
So Peppers picks up his fourth. Williams goes to the line. Williams a 77% free throw shooter.
And the officials saying that was on the rebound, so this is a one-on-one opportunity, not two shots.
And he misses the front end.
Boy, now they're well over 4 minutes without having scored.
Forte all the way.
And North Carolina's got it down to 10.
4:52 to play. It's a 10-0 Carolina run, and the lead is 10. Tar Heels just clawing their way back into this.
Man-to-man defense for North Carolina, the shot clock down to 10.
Cavaliers without a field goal for almost 4.5 minutes. Mason penetrates.
Boy, another tough shot.
Curry immediately looks for Forte. Forte.
Oh, that was another difficult attempt by Forte.
Boy, hand will push it. They've got numbers. Nice pass to Mason. The drought has ended.
And that's the way Virginia has played its best basketball, pushing the ball in transition. North Carolina's been able to prevent that for the last 4 minutes.
Almost 6 minutes without a bucket. Big rebound by Lang. And he's fouled and gets poked in the eye.
Friel's the one that commits the foul and immediately asks Lang if he's okay. And that's a foul. If you're Virginia, you want to make sure he doesn't get the ball in the basket and the opportunity for the three-point play. Forte, tough shot over Williams, and Friel comes in, just hammers him.
Virginia still has to feel pretty good going without a bucket for 5:49 of the ball game and still leading by 12.
That's what happens when you build a 20-point lead. You have some margin for error.
Lang misses a free throw.
And North Carolina really has not helped themselves from the line. They've only been there 10 times today, Tim, but they've only made 4 of the 10.
Lang is not one of the better free throw shooters. He's only 53%. Misses them both.
Boy, those are 2 big misses.
Donald Hand looked down at Mason and said, no, we don't need that now. Let's just shorten this game and melt some clock. There's a nice pass inside to Mason. And a tough shot.
That's a good play. You want to continue to be aggressive. You don't want to do crazy things, but you don't want to back it out and lose all your aggressiveness, which is what's gotten you the lead in the first place.
Forte off balance. Forte trying to do too much now.
Forte is trying to step up. And you may be right, but everybody else just sort of seems to be standing around waiting for him to do it.
Under 3 minutes to play. Donald Hand. .247 to play. Cavaliers still in control of the Tar Heels. More basketball to come your way this afternoon in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Clemson and Georgia Tech, the Yellow Jackets with some quality wins trying to get into the NCAAs. That's coming up next on the Jefferson Pilot and Raycom Sports Network. Or you'll see Florida State and NC State. Herb Sendak really needs a win, and Florida State has become dangerous. Check your local listings for the game in your area.
Tim, North Carolina went on that 10-0 run, and Virginia has now responded with 6 straight points. Donald Hand has been heavily involved, 1 assist and then 1 driving layup.
There has been no back off in Virginia today. Found themselves down by 8 early, then extended that lead to 20. Here's Williams with a big rebound.
And there's Joseph Forte getting in a crowd again.
Tar Heels now running out of time.
And Joseph Forte has really taken a lot of shot attempts, 27. And I don't know that many attempts, there's a foul on Curry, is healthy for your offensive flow. You mentioned that Jason Capel hasn't really been heavily involved in the offense.
Dan, this has been a spectacular crowd here today.
That's what we're talking about. We've mentioned a couple of times, North Carolina is the worst free throw shooting team in the ACC. Virginia is the best, and the numbers certainly bear that out today.
Big difference today, though, with the 9 3-pointers by Virginia in the first half. And the crowd played a role here to help the Cavaliers.
Tim, and you can't say that Joseph Forte is just taking too many shots because somebody else has to be willing to shoot.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And the other side of that is you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
And Pete Gillen is windmilling over on the sideline. He's going to hurt himself.
He wants movement in the offense. Wants that ball moving around.
Well, he's going to have to
move it outside.
Dr. Frank McHugh once his shoulder goes flying out.
He said spread the floor, melt the clock, shorten the game, and the game clock now is at 1:34. The shot clock's down to 5, and Mason has a shot blocked. Empty trip, but they did use a lot of the clock.
And that's the key at this point in the game.
Forte kicks it out to Curry. Over to Owens. Somebody's got to pull the trigger. Empty trip. Here come the Cavaliers. 1:08 to play. Virginia's going to beat North Carolina.
Pete Gillen telling Donald Hand to pass the ball.
52 seconds.
North Carolina has only shot 36% in the second half.
Big win for Virginia. Williams, this is for two. Exclamation point. "35 seconds left. That'll do it. Shot clock's off. 15 seconds remain in the game. The Cavaliers, ranked 9th in the country, have just beaten the second-ranked North Carolina Tar Heels. Ridiculous needless foul here with 8.4 seconds left.
Virginia's just trying to dribble it out. Well, North Carolina came in here then and just ran into a buzzsaw.
Well, Virginia averages 86 points a game. If he makes the next one, they'll be right on their average.
Well, impressively for the Cavaliers, though, North Carolina averages 81 points a game, and they only have 66.
Donald Hand leaves the ball game, and Josh Hare will come in. Dowling has checked in, so Jason Dowling comes into the ball game. Jason Rogers comes in. Pete Gillen using the last 8.4 seconds left to give his kids a standing ovation. Well, they camped outside for a week to get in here, and for the Virginia fans, it was well worth it. Virginia wins by 20. Well, the party's just starting in Charlottesville. North Carolina had cut the lead to 10, but then the Tar Heels went scoreless in the last 4 minutes and 55 seconds. The Cavaliers put an exclamation point on and win by 20. Dan, that was just a tremendous performance by Virginia.
Pete Gillen addressing the crowd. And he just told us, everybody, you spent the week out in the tents. I hope it was worth it.
Pete Gillen in his 3rd season at Virginia. He's won 52 games, and I mean in his 3 years here, he has really gotten this program going.
And the important thing for Virginia today, their 8th win in the conference. And that's really a big number, their 19th win overall, and they still have 2 games left to try to get that 9th win and secure that 3rd spot.
Virginia 13-1 at home this year. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back inside University Hall, and I mean these fans who camped outside for a week in tents have loved every second of this. Virginia fell behind by 8 early, but then went on a tear. 9 first-half three-pointers, and they led big at the half. As a matter of fact, Carolina cut the lead to 10 with 4:55 to play, but then the Tar Heels went scoreless in the last 4:55 of the ball game. Mason had 18 points. Hand had 17 points and 6 assists. Watson, strong game inside, 14 points. Williams had 13 points. Hall had 13. And Friel, who hit those key threes when he came in and just lit this crowd up, he had 9 points. Forte led the Tar Heels with 28, coming off that 36-point performance against Florida State. But once again, the final, Virginia 86, North Carolina 66. And Dan, when you look at this ball game, you've got to say Virginia was spectacular, and you made the point at the beginning of the ball game. Donald Hand had to play well and make good decisions.
Tim, we talked about Donald Hand before the basketball game, and Donald, we felt like one of the keys today was going to be your decision-making. What did you think?
Yeah, definitely. For the past couple games, I've been slacking off. I haven't been playing like myself, but I feel like I'm a very good player, and I had to come out and, lead the team today and just make great decisions and just lead us to the victory.
Now, that three-point basket that you made right at the end of the first half, that's one you practice a lot, no doubt.
Yeah, that's definitely something I practice a lot. Coach Gillen always telling me to keep confidence in my shot, and that's what I did. I felt I could knock it down, so I just took it.
And bank shots from the wing, too. Everything seemed to be going.
Yeah, I practice that every day, so that's something that was going, and that was just, thank God for this victory. That was just, we had it all going, all cylinders were going, that's when we were at our best.
Now, you guys had a week to get ready for this particular game. Did you think that helped you?
It definitely helped us because we had a lot of guys that was banged up, including, Travis, and he's a key contributor to our team. He's our best big man, and we just need to get him back to full strength. And when he's playing, we're a hell of a team to beat.
Now, Donald, when Joseph Forte started the game so strongly, he made 7 of his first 8 baskets, and then he really cooled off after that. What kind of adjustments did you guys make?
We just wanted to, have better help defense because he was beating us off the dribble and he was getting any shot that he wanted. We just wanted to come out in the second half and just contain him a lot better because he's a great player. We knew he was going to, get his shot going. We just had to stop the other guys too.
Well, Donald, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, we've got Travis Watson. Travis, you've had about everything wrong with you that you could have. You've been banged up about every part of your body. Did the week off help you?
It did a lot. I had a lot of rehab, and I was just treating every injury I had, and I came out and just wanted to play.
Now, Brendan Haywood, at 7 feet tall, is a very difficult guy to play against, but you seem to be very comfortable out there, are you?
Yeah, I'm very comfortable playing anybody taller than me, but it's just all about how bad you want to score. So that's how I'm going to keep it.
Now, when they went to the zone in the second half, you guys actually beat the zone up and down the court a number of times. Was that something that you talked about trying to do?
We knew that they was going to play a little bit of zone. All week we worked on the zone offense, and I think a lot of fatigue set in on their side, and we took advantage of it.
Now, you really did get them running up and down in the game. Was that part of the strategy as well?
Yes, we practice hard every day, doing a lot of sprints. And I seen it in their face that they was tired and they couldn't keep running with us. And so Coach Gillen told us to keep on doing it, so we kept on doing it.
Well, it sounds like a good idea. Congratulations, Travis. Let's get Keith Friel in here. Now, Keith, a couple of three-point baskets today, but no 40-foot three-pointers or bank shots. What's the problem?
Yeah, I'm going to leave the banks to Donald. He works on that often. But, hey, we're going to take whatever we can get. That was a big shot. The shot clock was running down, and, someone was looking after us today. Give us that one.
Now, Donald and I were talking about Joseph Forte and how he started the game so strongly. What kind of adjustments were made to stop him?
Well, obviously, he's a tremendous player. So what we tried to do is limit his touches as much as possible. They run the offense through him. So what we're trying to do is play him real high and deny him the ball. And then whenever our small guys, our perimeter players, were like screens, we just switched on to him and tried to deny the ball as much as possible and let some of their other players beat us.
Well, Keith, thanks for stopping by. We'll let you go have a good time. Congratulations.
Appreciate that.
All right, let's get back to Tim.
All right, Dan, they call it the Friel factor, and he did come in and light them up with those threes. That ignited the crowd here. They were down by 8. He came in. He hit a couple of big threes. He ends up with 9. But, I mean, these were crucial shots that just turned the tide for Virginia. We'll be back. Welcome back inside University Hall. The party is still going on. Everybody loving this down here in Charlottesville. Virginia beats North Carolina 86-66. We talked with Donald Hand, 17 points, 6 assists. We talked about how important it was that he controlled this ball game and made good decisions. Take a look at the Advanced Auto Parts play of the game just before the half. The Tar Heels missed an opportunity. Virginia brings it back, and Donald Hand from way beyond the NBA three-point range as time expired in the first half to put an exclamation point on what they had done in that first half, turning an 8-point deficit into a huge lead. Carolina gives up 86 points. Virginia right at its average 86. They are second in the Atlantic Coast Conference offensively, but only sixth in the ACC scoring defense, and yet today played very, very well against the second-ranked Tar Heels, limiting them to 66 points.
Tim, the impressive part about it is Virginia with those 56 points in the first half. They only had 30 in the second half, but you don't have to score that many when you get 56 in the first.
Take a look at the final statistics of the ball game, and you see 47%, 44% from field goals. Both were over 50% in the first half. Tar Heels could not do anything from the free throw line, and Virginia, although the Cavaliers only went to the line 16 times, they hit 13 of those 16, Dan, and that was big.
And they got those 9 three-point baskets in the first half. You'll notice there they only had 11 for the game, and we mentioned the offenses really did tail off in the second half. It was 56-42 in the first, only 30-24 in the second. So I think they probably all got tired, Tim.
Yeah, without a doubt. Mason ends up, Dan, with 18 points, Hand 17.6 assists. Watson with 14 points. You look all the way down, everybody got involved. Hall 13, Williams 13, and as you mentioned, Friel with 9.
Well, and Friel, I thought, really gave Virginia a boost coming off the bench in the first half. He hit 3 threes right now, bang, 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 and that really got the crowd back into the game when North Carolina had sort of pushed him out of the game. But it was a very impressive effort by Virginia.
Joseph Forte led the Tar Heels with 28 points. We'll be back with more thoughts in this upset win right after this. ACC Basketball 2001 continues next on most of these Raycom and Jefferson Pilot sports stations. You'll get one of these games. Clemson traveling down Interstate 85 to play Georgia Tech. Take on the Yellow Jackets. Florida State heads north to Raleigh to meet NC State. Both games earlier in the season were decided right in the final seconds, and we expect more of the same today. Check your local listings for your Raycom and Jefferson Pilot sports station in your area. Dan, what do you think about the two games coming up?
I think an extremely important game for Georgia Tech against Clemson. Georgia Tech has put themselves in a situation where if they beat Clemson and then Florida State, two teams below them in the standings, then they'll finish with 9 wins and assure themselves an NCAA tournament slot, but they've got to win those games.
Florida State, which has really struggled all year, beat Maryland, kept Virginia on the ropes, and all of a sudden now, as we head toward tournament time, showing some life.
Well, North Carolina State and Florida State, they're two teams that really fight you the whole way, and Florida State has been playing much better basketball. North Carolina State is going to have to find some offense.
What does this game do for the Cavaliers as they wind up the season?
Tim, I really think that what this game does, another impressive win for Virginia. It's a home win, of course, but it's over the #2 team in the country. And not only that, it gives them 8 wins in the conference. So at worst, they finish 8-8. And I think 8 wins in the ACC this year basically has to guarantee you a bid into the NCAA tournament.
Well, Virginia has Clemson here next Wednesday, and then at Maryland next weekend. Cavaliers go to 8-6 in the conference, 19-6 overall, ranked number 9, and probably will move up in the rankings this week. Let's take a look at some of the Atlantic Coast Conference schedule, what's left. We told you about Virginia. Virginia's got Clemson next Wednesday and then Maryland next weekend. You see the games that are coming up next here on the ACC Basketball Network. Tuesday, Maryland at Duke. Dan, what do you think?
Well, I think that'll be an extremely entertaining basketball game. Everybody talks about how Maryland was devastated with their previous loss to Duke, but that seems to be behind the Terrapins. And remember that Maryland split with Duke last year. They lost in College Park and won in Durham. So I think that has an opportunity to be a very, very good game.
How does Virginia match up with the Clemson team that just beat these Tar Heels last Sunday?
Clemson, of course, is a team that can put a lot of points on the board. Virginia had a very impressive victory against Clemson down at Clemson, and so the Cavaliers, I think, are going to have to try to make sure they avoid a letdown with the Tigers coming in here.
One of the games I've always enjoyed being up in this area, and certainly you having played for Virginia, that Maryland-Virginia game at the end of the season is always fun.
It's always fun, and that's a game, I think, where there'll be a great deal on the line for both of those teams. They could be playing for 3rd place in the league, and I think the 3rd seed this year is an interesting position.
And of course 4 and 5 and 5 and 6. Those are some tremendous matchups as we look ahead to the tournament.
You go 3 through 6 in the Atlantic Coast Conference, and you have some very solid basketball teams. And of course, for North Carolina, they've got Duke left, and they play them at home in Chapel Hill. But that looks like that's going to be the game for the ACC championship now.
We'll be back with some more final thoughts from Charlottesville right after this. Well, the final score, Virginia beats second-ranked North Carolina 86-66 in Charlottesville, and what a game this was. Don't forget, coming up, we've still got 2 terrific ACC basketball games coming up next. Check the one in your area. Terrific ball game. Mason 18, Hand 17 points, Watson 14 points, Hall 13 points. Cavaliers fell down by 8 and then went on a tear with 9 first-half three-pointers, and the Cavaliers beat the Tar Heels by 20 this afternoon. For North Carolina, Joseph Forte and the Heels, he led them with 28 points. So long.